Yeah.
Oh no!
Matt, what the hell was that?
Wasn't me, coach. Welcome to the straight red card. Get off our lawn.
Welcome to the Straight Red Card. Indeed. I know, this is my devil voice. Welcome to the Straight Red Card.
Spoken has really fucked up my vocal cords.
We are back, folks. This is where you come for life advice. This is where we go for sanity. I guess. Sanity? Probably not the right place. But we are happy to have you. We are happy to be at 2.4 now. It's very nice. Subscribers. All 2,427 of you. Something like that. I don't know if that's the number. Nevertheless, today, of course, we're going to talk about the most recent four managers and who did the best job and, you know, how we rate them. Little news, though, before we get there. Rumor mill, Matthew Hoppe to Middlesbrough. Not bad. Not bad. It's actually a little more than Rumorville, but you get the idea. That could happen.
Yep, it's been that one and forgot the other championship team that was that were expressing interest. That people are tagging us like crazy on Twitter. It's again, hey, I thought you guys had the inside scoop, and I go, I know. Our man in the inside, Stu, has been holding out on info.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Stu knows nothing. All right. Speaking of nothing.
About Hoppe, you mean?
That's correct.
Oh, yes.
Yes. He's not a know-nothing. That means he would have to have been around in the 1800s. That's when that party was strong. Ooh. The turd in the background says, time for the straight red card time.
That's all in caps. You got to yell it.
Time for the straight red card. Time for some laughs and talk about testicles. My wife is getting eaten out by her personal trainer. Oh, my God. Bet you Brett won't bring this up. Why wouldn't he?
She wasn't the best.
Okay. I didn't know you were doing personal training again. That kind of personal training. Oh, okay. I thought you'd given that up since you were married. Now you're just kind of a one-gal guy. All right. Speaking of knowing nothing or nothing indeed, what is this stupid ass Adidas fucking new tagline they have? Impossible is nothing? The fuck is that even supposed to mean? Oh, look, it's the opposite of nothing is impossible. Yeah, but what does it mean? Impossible is nothing? No, impossible is something. It's an actual word, has a meaning. Some things are impossible. Like you won't be able to jam the back of your heel up your ass.
And nothing isn't even nothing.
Yeah, nothing is
something.
Nothing is something too, because as we know, the universe is expanding, right?
Yeah.
Well, the universe isn't necessarily expanding into nothing. There's something there for it to be expanding into, right? All right, so stupid commercial. It's about as dumb as a Limp Bizkit song. Stop the stupid commercials, Adidas. Have some self-respect.
Yeah.
Impossible is nothing. Your stupid commercials are nothing. They're worthless. Absolutely worthless. Anyhow.
Maybe they are doing it for the nookie.
Yeah, what do we know? We're just two idiots with microphones. Oh, no.
Get it stuck in your head now.
No, it won't. I have bad music rejectionitis. It just doesn't stick. Although for 2 years, I woke up with the song Yellow Brick Road by Elton John in my head. For 2 years straight, every morning I woke up, and it was like Groundhog Day. Goodbye, Yellow Brick Road. But, I mean, it was just like, how can that still be in my head? How has this become a habit? I love the song, but this is making me hate it. Okay. We're also here for life advice tonight, so if you have some life questions, do let us know. But we're going to take your soccer-related questions first. And here we go.
Wasn't there another rumor I sent you besides just Hoppe?
What's another one?
While you're thinking about it, I also obviously the rumor mill of Weston McKennie to Tottenham has sprung up again, for the 5 millionth time.
And why the fuck is he not playing again for Allegri in these friendlies?
So I don't know. I haven't really gone through and taken a look at any quotes or anything like that. I'm sure it's come up. But from what I heard, I guess there was talk that he may not necessarily be in the right condition at this point.
What?
But he looks like he's in good condition at this point.
Yeah, he played for us just not that long ago. So I just don't get this. I don't understand. Is he saving him for a transfer? Like ride some pine and don't get injured? So
Juve's running the hype train though, the marketing train while they're still in the U.S. Come to the next game.
The guy who doesn't play, he doesn't play while we're in the United States, makes about 0 cents.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a testicle joke in there somewhere, but there's no point in telling it. All we know is that
I think Grant's got the right question here. Does this mean you'll actually let him play every single minute, or even a single minute in preseason?
Yeah, no kidding. I just I turned on the highlights and I was like excited. I was gonna watch the game. In fact, I did catch the very end of it, last 20 minutes. Where is he? Like, where the fuck is he? He hasn't played. Surely he'll get 10 minutes at the end.
I assumed he would play in Dallas, even if he doesn't. Even if they wanted to take a look at that middle trio of defensive-minded midfielders. Yeah, let's test that. Let's go with that.
Sometimes I just think some of these managers are stubborn as fuck, and I wonder if anybody in the media asked. Somebody would have had to ask Allegri, "Hey, why isn't McKennie playing?" He's not playing, but he's the best American player in Europe right now, which is what he said. And he's close. I agree with him, but not everybody else does. Hurt doesn't.
I don't know. I almost wonder if they're looking to get a couple of guys. I'm spacing the one. I'm spacing the midfield. Their names at this point. I could go back and look at them. I'm not going to.
It's your team,
but yeah, they're ish.
Your team-ish.
Yeah. But yeah, again, they all play roughly the same type of position. They're very much a defensive, or they're all pretty much defensive midfielders with their respective clubs prior to this. Now they're all here, and I wonder if they're biting to find out who's going to step up for the starting and backup, or maybe they're going to play two defensive-minded with an offensive-minded midfield in that trio if they continue to play a 4-3-3. And I wonder, I would imagine that they would think that McKennie would be primed for that offensive role. Maybe they're going to play him out as the preseason ends. I don't know.
I guess maybe they're just giving him some rest, since not only did he play, most of the Juventus games before getting injured, he played almost all the U.S. games before getting injured too. So, Jose Reyes, thank you for the $10. Really appreciate that. Getting ready for a long Friday work day. Figured I'd stop by and buy you fine men a gallon of milk each. Oh man.
All right. So Chris, by the way, Jose Reyes, thanks for that $10. I appreciate it, man. You came through in a pinch share.
That's what I said.
I know. I wanted to say it too, man.
No,
I appreciate everyone as well.
You're like, quit filibustering. So yes, thank you for everybody who chimed in when Brett froze last time and said filibuster. That's the word you're looking for, Derek. Filibuster. And Brett was frozen. And I was thinking, I know somebody's giving us the answer in chat. Why doesn't Brett say something about it? But he was frozen.
Oh.
And when he came back, it was gone. So, or it had flown by the screen. So he didn't see it. Chris Gary, how about that bitch that said some woman player was better?
Yep, I'm pulling it up here right now. It's going to take me a second. I got to scroll back through
This is like this conversation when I went to a Big Red once to get some fucking beer, or maybe it was vodka. Anyhow, and the two guys at the counter were arguing on whether or not the women's national team could beat the men's national team in a game. And I said, guys, I don't mean to interrupt your conversation. I am standing in line. But, the women's team, they lost to like the Dallas U15 boys team prior to a warm-up prior to the last women's World Cup. So, and they just looked at me like I had intruded in their discussion. Well, I'm sorry. I did. I'm a customer. The customer's always right. And I'm right about that. All right. Did you find it?
Okay. Yep.
So this is a female dog said something about women players being better.
Oh yeah.
Well, this is taking a long time. I should have stretched out that story. And then what I did once I put my beer up on the counters, I spit slapped both of them. Said, "Snap out of it! Just because you're little tiny boys and less than men doesn't mean the rest of us are."
So here's a quote tweet. Allegri says McKennie is probably the best American player in Europe. I think he's very important I think it's very important for him to continue showing the high levels that he has at Juve. So it sounds like he's not going anywhere. It could just be talk regardless. But this was back on July 21st. And again, I don't think he's going anywhere. I'm just saying that the rumor mills are always churning.
Okay.
So he's basically saying he's the best American player playing in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And this person said wrong. We all know that
Katerina Macario is the best American player playing in Europe. What? What's that you say? Oh, you mean male footballers? Just say so, bro. I'm not sure what that means.
She's saying that Katerina Macario, yeah, is the best American player playing in Europe right now.
Okay.
And whatever floats your boat. There are people that will say other people are better than insert person here. I don't really care about that. It's Allegri talking about men's soccer. Clearly, he's going to talk about McKennie in the sense of men's soccer in Europe.
Dudes with testicles.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was just a dumb comment to make.
I don't know. Is she joking?
I don't think so. At least nobody in the comments section took it that way. So let's go back here. Tactical says he's the head coach of men's teams, so you know exactly what he meant. He's referring to players he faces and works with. I'd accept a coach from the women's team to say Katerina is the best American player in Europe, and that's perfectly fine. Your tweet is embarrassing. So my response was, I'm sad that in order to reply that I have to resort to quote tweeting because she put her comment on Blanc so that way only people who are friends with her can comment. And I go, just imagine something smart and witty mentioned here because quite frankly, that's how I roll.
Well,
it was a silly comment to make.
Listen,
and not needed.
We had the same discussion when somebody, where it was, John McEnroe said that Serena Williams is the best women's player ever. And the person interviewing said, "You mean the best player ever?" He said, "No, the best women's player." And then he said, "No, that's what I mean. So I'm sticking to my guns here, and you're not going to make me say anything else." And then Serena, thankfully, supported John with that comment because she was asked at one point if she wanted to play against the men. She said, "Hell no, I don't want to play against the men."
Yeah. I remember the whole interaction. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, we can go live in a dream world, live in a fantasy world where apparently now we're all equally, not only mentally, but also physically now, which is not true. And that's just science. So we're just not the same. Is there a woman who could kick my ass in boxing? I'm sure there is. Absolutely there is. But on average, an average woman who doesn't know how to box, going to get her ass kicked, and then I'm going to go to jail. So that's not going to work for anybody. England's fundamental weakness is that they are English. That's what we should be looking to exploit.
So I brought this up because, as it turns out, I feel like this could be helpful later. East Post this. Turns out England wags to stay on luxury boat at Qatar World Cup soccer to avoid booze block or whatever.
That's fucking an amazing idea.
Yeah.
Just spend the whole fucking event in your goddamn giant boat, drinking, getting high, fucking partying, having sex.
Well, I mean, all their husbands and boyfriends and shit will be in Qatar playing.
Well, they're not all married. There's some chicks that are going to be coming along, I'm guessing, on this cruiser. So
Grant goes, "What could possibly go wrong?" I said, "Book my ticket."
Like Grant's going to pretend he knows what could happen there.
Well, it's Grant Tuberville, not Grant Wall.
Oh, okay. I was going to say Grant Wall. Okay. I thought Grant Wall was the one who said that. Oh, now I see it. Okay. Booked my ticket. And hopefully I'm not jerking you off in this. Oh, okay. Good. I don't know which one's me. I think I'm the one with the bigger nose, would be my guess. Plus the other guy.
I'm on the keyboard, so clearly that's me.
Yes.
Brian asks, what's a WAG? And David answers immediately, wives and girlfriend.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good point. So WAGs does incorporate the girlfriends. So they're going to be coming as well on the boat. Wait, that still doesn't sound right. Okay, we're all frozen. This is great.
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you see?
I can see you.
Am I frozen?
No, you're not.
I am on my screen.
There
we go.
2 straight shows. We're going to have fuck-ups, I guarantee it.
What the fuck is that about? Yeah. I'm sitting 5 feet from the goddamn you-know-whatter thing. Anyhow, yes. So when I said that, yes, the WAGs, it's wives and girlfriends, they're all coming on the boat. Yes, they could be doing that in more ways than one.
What a poor choice of words.
But
or
more
was it?
They may not be
Pun
because,
intended.
well, their husbands are and boyfriends are going to be tired, right? So they're not going to have time for that.
Well, the husbands and boyfriends won't be on the boat.
Yeah. Chris Gary, John Terry, what we used to have, we used to call him Baby something because he was something daddy of the year. Something daddy. Oh my God. That was in the old days. We used to have a nickname for Terry. I can't remember what it was now. Anyhow, it had something to do with sperm. But John Terry is ordered to be 100 yards away from the boat. I bet you the chicks let him in.
I feel bad for this one. What did Ian do?
Ian
Leave
Harks
the kid alone.
Too.
Hey, got him. This is John.
John Harks. Yeah. Ian Harks. Yeah. He's probably not into that. I don't think he's a playboy like his dad was. Although his dad denies it. So just to be clear, John Harks denies ever stooping Amy Winaldo, which is really odd since Amy Winaldo admits that John Harks stooped her. That's got to be embarrassing for a woman when some guy denies that he stooped you. Don't you think that's weird?
Yeah.
I mean, for a chick? No,
always
I didn't touch
always
it.
a fun topic to bring back up.
I wouldn't touch that skank with a 10-foot pole. God, no way. All right. More questions.
Yeah. All right. Let's see what we got on Twitter here. By the way, I'm glad everybody got the rescheduling. Show's starting at 8:30. That's 15 minutes later than normal. 8:30 tonight. 8:30. What time? 8:30. That's the time.
So you have to sit around for an extra 15 minutes. And that might have given you some time to do some yoga, contemplate life, thinking about what you're going to do different in your life. And by the way, the person that said that Brett has to buy a new house now, Brett bought a new house.
This was a new house. I was the first one. I was a trendsetter.
He beat me to it.
By a year.
Yes.
Mitch
right.
Desi goes, so is it 8:15? And Juan says, at what time again? So I put 8:30.
Well,
And
hopefully
Jose goes, you know I don't speak Spanish and English, please. Jose, you don't speak Spanish?
Huh. Yeah. Juan is a very typical Spanish-sounding name. Lots of Juans in Spain and Mexico. I guess all over the world. I think even, well, anyhow. All right, this is Screen Swap. Jeff, what'd you do? Your name's all different. 8-bit Jeff. Screen Swap. Wait, VBL. I don't know what any of that means. To me, it was Bruce taking over for Sampson. He did have a fresh wave of new talent from a Florida academy, but he also made the team more than the sum of its respective parts. And they went further in 2002 than any other time. Not 2017, Bruce, of course. God, the way I read that reminded me of an actor. To me, it was Bruce taking
You're
over.
You're talking to him all wrong. You do it again, I'll stab you in the eye with a soldering iron.
I'll stab you in the eye with a soldering iron. Oh, who's the name of that actor? Christopher Walken.
Christopher Walken.
God,
You may not have been able to tell from such great impersonations, guys, but that's Christopher Walken.
I might be too stoned to do this show. All right. Anyhow, that's the opposite of Christopher Reeves. Oh,
uncalled for, Derek. Too soon. Too soon.
Oh, he's dead. It's all right. All right. So, yeah, we're gonna have this discussion, Jeff, and about Bruce and Samson. Yeah, we just kicked him off the list. We're just like, we're not talking about Samson. Fuck that guy. He played a 2-6-2 or whatever. So
that was a cycle to forget. So
yeah, it was rough times. Although he did a good job prior to that, but that World Cup was a big flop. Right. Sam cuts a fart. You got something?
What?
We're done with Chris.
Chris Harry.
Honestly, I have to say, he's overseen the turnaround.
I have to say Greg. You left Greg out.
Honestly, I have to say Greg. See, I'm trying to do my impression.
Yeah.
He's overseen the turnaround of talent, and he's gotten some great dual nats. Unfortunately, he has a ton of flaws. Well, don't we all? But
I'm perfect. I don't know what you're talking about. My internet has flaws, but I'm perfect.
now my Christopher Walken's weak. I'll say that.
So the turnaround of talent was kind of forced upon him because who was he going to carry over? I feel like he went into this cycle going, I've got to start with the babies and work up from there.
Yeah.
Start getting chemistry from 2018 all the way up.
And it was really Bob who started a lot of this dual nat stuff.
Yep.
He doesn't get enough credit for that. And Jurgen just continued it. So
different country, though.
Yeah.
He continued the German expansion.
Who got Timmy Chandler first? I'm pretty sure Bob did, didn't he?
Yeah, I think Bob may have gotten him, yeah.
All right. Jermaine Jones. Yeah, that must have been during Jurgen's run, I'm guessing, but I'm not 100% sure.
Let's have your comments down below.
Terrence Boyd. Excuse me. That
was Jurgen.
That's Jurgen. Brooks, Jurgen. And Fabian Johnson, Jurgen. So
it was Chandler the first real doing that in that cycle to come through?
I think so.
I think Jermaine was Bob, wasn't it? I have to agree with Chris. Maybe I think Jermaine came first, and then Chandler and Johnson came with Klinsmann.
Could have been, because I almost swear to God I remember Jermaine Jones playing for Bradley, and I thought I can remember the same.
Oh my God, we're all over the place. Yeah, Jermaine was Bob, Chandler.
Okay, then it was
Bob. So,
so just saying that I'm not sure giving JK all the plaudits for that is fair, because I think Bob did it. The only guy who didn't really, do it a lot more was Bruce, because he's continued the same thing. So Greg and JK I don't think they should get any bonus points because Bob did it too.
Bruce had that all-time famous comment about whether or not they're like true Americans or something like that, or whatever it was.
Yeah, I think
it was also taken a little out of context, and it's not like he didn't play his handful of dual nets too. So
I think that he's just talking about Timmy Chandler, and that's it.
That could have been it. Very well could have been it.
Because he did leave Jermaine off all those rosters, and Jermaine said, "I could have been playing. I should have been playing. Bruce should have called me." So, yeah, I don't know what to say about that. I know the gal from the women's team said something similar.
Abby Wambach.
Oh, yeah, and that didn't go over very well either. Because that'd be like saying I'm not American. Well, that's bullshit. My dad's American. That makes me American. So screw off. All right, Jonathan.
You got citizenship. I really don't care where you were born and where you live your life.
Exactly.
You're still a citizen.
Who cares?
Yeah.
My mom's an American now. Tell her she's not. She'll punch you in the face. Jonathan Towsley. Is that right, Towsley? That's probably
right. That's
right.
how it's it.
How does everyone remember all this? Haha. Remember all what?
Which dual nat got called in by which manager and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's as we're proving, Jonathan, it's not a proven science.
No, it's not.
Remembering off the top of your head randomly is not the best case scenario on that, but Fortunately, we have 48 heads in the chat, and they can always help out where our minds lapse.
Yeah, we have any more questions, or do we want to get on to this?
We have plenty of questions, but we can handle these questions afterwards because a lot of them are going to be based on this anyways.
Okay. Let's start with them in sort of order of like Bruce, then it was Bob, then it was JK, then it was Greg. So let's start with Bruce.
There you go. I'll give you this one.
Is an American as Wiener Schnitzel. Oh, okay. We eat lots of Wieners here, but not a lot of schnitzels. So maybe they do in Ohio. I know they eat a lot of Wiener Schnitzel in Ohio. Ohio's a very German. So is Kentucky. The Germans basically settled Kentucky and Ohio. And Indiana, too.
Loads of sausages in Ohio.
Yes, sir. Okay. So we start with Bruce, right? Bruce has the most wins, right? He has 81 wins, but he also managed longer than anybody of the other three guys we're going to talk about.
And 2.5 cycles, yeah.
Yeah. He did give us the deepest run in the 2002 World Cup.
And on top of that, beat Mexico in the 16.
Yes.
In the same World Cup, obviously, but that's a big fucking win in all of our books.
And we should have had that goal versus Germany.
Yeah, we got
so
royal.
And it's really hard. I know everybody's going to hold the Trinidad and Tobago game against him where we didn't qualify. And I get it. I understand that. And I think Bruce realized in some ways that sort of shat on his own legacy by not qualifying.
Yeah. Well, and taking that into consideration, what he in that year that he coached us during that cycle, he went like 10-6-2, like 10 a win, draw, and loss. So only 2 losses that entire year. Yeah. Now, mind you, a big fucking loss against the weakest fucking team we've ever seen.
Yeah.
Out of Trinidad. So that's a big fuck. But I mean, any result. We've talked about this ad nauseum that. It was a perfect storm. Like there's one scenario where the U.S. would not go through in that game, and it happened. But regardless, we played the easiest team in the entire hex.
And
hex.
If you go back and watch the video, and you watch the first goal that bounces off Gonzo's foot and floats perfectly, it had the perfect angle as it bounced off his foot to go just over Howard's his fingertips. I mean, that's lucky as fuck. And then the other guy who scored from like 35, 40 yards out, I mean, he couldn't hit the broadside of the barn usually. And he couldn't do that again if there was nobody in the goal from there. So, yeah, I mean, it was bad. But it did tarnish his legacy. He did, however, win 3 Gold Cups, you know?
Yeah, not only that, but, on top of the quarters that he got to, and then the horrendous failure in 18, he also had a very forgettable 2006 World Cup.
Yes,
mind you, it was also a relatively tough group to get out of, and when you don't show up against the Czech Republic at all, you draw Italy and what would eventually be the World Cup winners of that cycle, and then come out flat against a pacey Ghana. It's going to happen. Saying that though, it's funny, in the 2002 World Cup, we actually placed 3rd in the qualifiers, but the 2006, we topped the group. Which goes to show you, as long as you get into the World Cup, it doesn't really matter where you place in there.
It's kind of weird. And we did finish with the highest FIFA ranking under Bruce. I think we were 4th. Whoever smoked
take that into consideration,
yeah. Who put together that mathematical system. But Gold Cup winner in 02, 05, and 2017. 3rd in the Confederations Cup. A lot of people remember Bob 2nd in Confederations Cup, but in 99, Bruce got us a 3rd. So was the first time we'd ever done that well in that particular tournament. And Bob didn't have a lot of wins against impressive teams in friendlies and stuff like that, but we did beat Argentina during his tenure, Uruguay, Chile, and Germany. His overall win percentage was 55%. Brett's got to go beat someone's ass. Chris Guerra, you guys better agree with me on Greg. He literally changed the way the world views American soccer. Hasn't done it yet, Chris, but I do think it's going to happen. But I don't know if the World Cup coming up is going to do it quite yet. I think it might be the next cycle, right? I'd like to see us kick ass and get out of the 16 in the next World Cup. But, that's been done before, and it didn't change the view of American soccer. And I know you're kidding, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's his stupid slideshow.
You can change the
can't
world.
believe he put that slide up in front of the whole team. That is not their job. It's not their job.
Nope.
And it's not your job either, stupid. God, get a fucking clue.
Where you're going to change the mind of the world is how they play consistently week in, week out at their clubs. And then how they do as a national team.
Yeah. And you've noticed
any team can have a fucking fluke. I mean, the 02 World Cup, didn't South Korea go to like the quarter or to the semifinals?
Semifinals, yes.
And I'm not bagging on South Korea or anything like that, but who would have predicted that?
No one. Although it was in their home country, but still.
Who would have predicted that?
But still. Yeah, I mean, you notice Greg does not say that line anymore.
It's because he listens to our show.
Yes, that's one reason. Number two, I shot him an email, and I said, dude, you can't say that shit anymore. That's stupid. Your job is to go and perform at the World Cup. First, get us qualified. Second, once you do that, let's be really competitive in the World Cup. Let's see how far we can go. That's your job, dude. Don't worry about other people's views. You can't change anybody's view. What are you going to do? Put a gun to their head and go, hey, you got to start liking American soccer. They are good.
Do it now.
Jesus.
So rather than going chronologically here when giving the explanation, since we're already talking about it, Greg, do you want to just jump into the rest of his information?
Greg?
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about Greg yet.
Okay, fine. You just went on a rant for about 2 minutes there about Greg, so I just figured you want to just go ahead and keep going with it.
I did?
All right, let's go. Yeah, you were just talking about Greg and changing the way the world views soccer, American soccer.
Yeah, but I was just busting his balls.
I know you were, but you still went off on it for like 2 minutes. I'm like, well, we're talking about enough. Let's just keep going with it, I guess.
Too much.
Okay.
All right.
So Bob.
Bob, actually of all these guys, Bob's probably my favorite person. Although I'm a big fan of Bruce too, because I like his sort of swarmy kind
He's
of
very, very direct
sense of humor. Yeah.
Fucking sucked. What can I say?
His accent's a little irritating, but I still like the way he kind of delivers his message.
His clap if something happens just in front.
And he's the furthest guy on this. Well, I don't think Bob would say this either. I don't think Bob would say, now Jurgen might, our job is to change the way the world views American soccer. I don't think Bruce or Bob would say that. But JK might, and Greg might say that.
Klinsmann was we're not going to change how the world views American soccer. Klinsmann was we're going to change the identity of American soccer.
Which he did.
That cycle.
Yeah.
We're going to change it from a more defensive / counter style to a overly possessive pass.
Go nowhere.
Yeah.
Possession for no reason whatsoever. But
Mexico does it so well, we could do it too.
In the World Cup, he didn't do that. He found sanity right before the World Cup and said, you know what? Yeah. We better, if we're going to play Beckerman as our holding mid, we better be sensible about how we do this.
Well, you can't change the identity of the team like that drastic overnight with adults that are already set in their ways. You can't do it. You have to do it at the youth level.
In 4 years. And besides, we didn't have the players with the skill set to make those changes, unless you're playing against Trinidad and Tobago or Barbados or whomever. Then you can do some possession ball, but otherwise you're playing England. Yeah. You're gonna play more solid defense and hit on the counter.
Yeah, and I won't go into too much with Klinsmann since we're still on Bruce, but it's possible that the groundwork that he laid may be benefiting Greg now. because he went to those youth levels and he was pushing the possession, pass, confidence, pass, take it to the opposition, pass. Yeah, that style. So maybe the groundwork he laid is benefiting Greg. And how do you gauge that when really gauging him as a national team coach and how much of a difference he made? Because we don't know how many of those players were really affected by that.
And the player pool is so different since Jurgen was the coach. I mean, no more Dempsey. Well,
no more anybody. No Yedlin and Brooks. Even Brooks is there, and Yedlin's
that's right.
On his 1 foot out.
Yep. So I mean, totally different team too, with the ability to kind of do more of that possession-based ball. Bob did win. Was the top of Group C in 2010, so he's got that. He had 43 wins total, which is about half of Bruce's. Of course, he had the team about half as much. And his winning percentage is just under Bruce's at 54.
Yeah, he coached 80 games where Bruce did, 148, looks like?
A lot, yeah.
Yeah.
With
I don't know. With Bob, he also topped the qualifier as well.
Yep.
That was also the year. Was that the year? No, I don't know. I don't know if that was the year or no. It was Klinsmann was the year where Mexico about flamed out.
Yep. And then that 2009 Confederations Cup run. Who can forget that? If you were alive and breathing at that time and watching that and watching us beat Spain 2-0. I mean, it was just fucking spectacular, man. I was losing my shit watching that game. I was so excited. And then I thought we had Brazil by the ball.
Should have.
I know we were up
2-0 at halftime, man. Let 3 in the second half. Come the fuck on.
Bob didn't know how to park the bus, man.
No, he was his empty bucket was not about parking.
Yeah,
I think that really played into Donovan and Dempsey's hands, that formation, which I think we got the most out of them.
But the idea that Bob is a defensive coach has changed. He's evolved. Certainly the way he sets up and plays is different than he used to with the men's national team, which makes sense because it's a different team and they're different players.
Yeah.
So, but I think he evolved anyhow once he got to Egypt.
But you can't do the empty bucket because his empty bucket because he played with 2 strikers, and you can't play with 2 strikers nowadays. That's not available. You can't do that. It's
blasphemy now. It's so uncool.
2 strikers. What is this? 1999.
Now the other tough part is though, Bob only has 1 Gold Cup win.
Only 1 win? Oh, okay. Gold.
Yes.
Okay. I thought you said like he only got like 1 game, one where he won 1 game. I was like,
yeah.
What? When is this?
And although that Spain 2-0 victory was fabulous, kind of like the Bruce era, and then now the Greg era, we didn't play that many tough opponents in Europe or overseas or anything like that. And if we did, we usually lost to them. I think we lost to Brazil twice, which is no shame in losing to Brazil if you're Bob. But we weren't really competitive either.
We still ventured into Europe. But the times we played the bigger teams, not so great. But more often than not, those big teams came to the United States.
Hey, we had a tie versus England. I know that much.
Sure.
And 2007 Copa America was really bad for Bob.
Okay. I was wondering if this is going to get brought up again. So looking, and I'm sure your memory is right as rain. You remember the whole ordeal behind it. But we had the Gold Cup just before it, and then the Copa.
Mm-hmm.
And not only could Bob not necessarily go to the teams and say, "Hey, I know they were out for an entire month for the Gold Cup. They're going to be out for almost a month for Copa." But the clubs weren't required to release the players anyways.
Yeah.
Because we were a guest, so clubs could have just told them to fuck off. So we sent more or less a BC squad, which included a lot of young players, which if you look at that Copa squad, I think there were about like 9 players in that squad that actually made the 2010 World Cup in the end.
Mm-hmm.
So while it was a really shitty performance as a whole from the club, and we had those nice pinstripe jerseys, that was phenomenal. I actually own that jersey.
Do you like that one?
Not at all.
Okay,
no.
It looks like a Yankees.
I was literally the first one. I think the plain white one from that cycle, and then I bought the pinstripe, and then I bought the slate gray one. I haven't bought one since.
Well, it was poor. It wasn't all Bob's fault, but he still went out, I think, 3 losses and out. So it's kind of embarrassing. And we didn't play well. The turd in the background. Bob Bradley, the father of the U.S. men's national team legend Michael Bradley, once called me a dick face after I allowed a reporter to ask a degrading question about Connor Casey. I don't know if that really happened, but it sounds like it could have. That sounds like it's a true story, dude.
Yeah.
But I know one thing for sure. Bob Bradley despises U.S. soccer. Despises the USSF.
USSF. Let's rephrase that.
Yes. Not U.S. soccer.
Yeah, exactly.
The Federation. He fucking said he will never coach. It doesn't matter if they ask. He's not doing it ever again. And I think he hates Galati, and Galati's gone, so maybe that might change something. But he has been caught many times in public and other places saying some pretty – listen, the fact that he was fired after 2 losses, I think is – well, it was in the final, right? He was in the final of the Gold Cup, and he lost. Mm-hmm. And they fired him for a second place. What? But it had nothing to do with Bob because they have been lathering for Galati had been stalking Klinsmann for like 3 years prior to that. So
yeah. Well, I mean, Klinsmann was at Bayern at the time, wasn't he?
I think so, yeah.
And he's like, nah, I'm good, thanks. And then he got shit canned from Bayern, and then he coached another club in Germany, didn't he, for like a short spell?
Well, that was Hertha, and that was later.
Was it later? Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, then once he was available, I mean, USSF couldn't wait to get an excuse to chuck Bradley out the door.
And that's what pissed Bob Bradley off.
Yeah.
And the fact that...
What? A loss to Mexico in the finals? Get the fuck out of here.
I know. That's what pissed him off because he didn't see it coming. It blindsided him. And he heard about it from the press before he found out from USSF. So, yeah. David D. David the Dunker. Wasn't Jimmy Conrad on that 07 team? Him and Heath?
I know Conrad was. I don't know about Heath.
I don't think Heath was. Might have been. I don't remember. He was so off and on, and then he'd play in Germany, then he wouldn't play for his club team, then he wouldn't, then he wouldn't. You could ask them. They have a show. I mean, still watch our show, but I guess if we have Jimmy on, we could ask him about 07. But I think yes, he definitely was on that team. Yes,
I know Jimmy was,
because I think that's what he calls his big shot. One of his big shots.
Let's just pull up a report here. Let's see. The U.S. squad, and I'll just go down the list. Fuck it, why not?
All right.
Casey Keller, Drew Moore, Jay DeMeritt, Benny Feilhaber, Jimmy Conrad, Jonathan Bornstein, Ben Olsen, Ricardo Clark, Kleshin, Eddie Johnson, Taylor Twellman. That's who started a game against Paraguay. And in the subs was Guzan, Califf, Pierce, Boswell, Gomez, Wynn, Marvell Wynn. Yeah. Charlie Davies, Eddie Gavin, Beckerman, Justin Mapp, Lee Wynn. So, yeah, Conrad and Heath were both there.
Outside of a handful of names there, those are really some of the best players that we had in that year.
Some of them were on the tail end of their careers. And then some of them were just like stepping up into MLS, like 24, 25 range. So again, it was at the point it was kind of a like a B minus C plus squad, maybe a B to C squad. I don't know, somewhere in that range. It wasn't our A squad. I'll tell you that much.
Doesn't matter. I mean, after listing that group of players, I'd say Bob had to do better than he did when he was there.
Sure. No, it was a shit performance. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. So then we move on to JK. And I obviously have a gigantic grudge against Jurgen Klinsmann because he got rid of Landon Donovan before the World Cup. And we all know the truth behind that story. Jurgen knows it too, and someday it will all come out. But yes, it was personal. It had nothing to do with Landon Donovan going off and taking a vacation after playing soccer for 2 years straight. LA Galaxy Everton, LA Galaxy, Everton. Can the guy get a fucking break or a rest? And at what point does he get a rest? And then he comes back and plays in the Gold Cup, and he's the best player on the fucking team. And then you cut him.
Yeah, that was so fucked. I mean, I remember when that all happened. And then they're like, here's a roster. I'm like, where the fuck's Donovan at? I think we actually made a return on that. Or was that at the end of our cycle of 2014? Yeah, that was before we stopped.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember talking about it. It's like completely blindsided. I mean, I'm sure Donovan may have had a day's notice and he wasn't just like received the tweet like, I'm not on the World Cup roster. What the fuck?
And then Jurgen's son, Jonathan, going, ha, 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 making fun of. That tells you that there was a discussion, in-house discussion at the dinner table between Jurgen's wife, Jurgen's son, and Landon Donovan was spoken of in a very negative manner.
I feel like there has to have been some kerfuffle, some argument between him and Donovan before that. Like maybe it was during his year-long hiatus that they were just screaming at each other. Because why would I'm sure Jonathan probably had great memories of Donovan. I mean, Klinsmann
brought him to Bayern.
Nut hugged him for a while,
Well, he did.
So
he did. I hear also kind of blame Donovan for not turning out at Bayern. That he had put a lot of faith in him, and then he got there and he didn't pan out at Bayern, and that pissed him off. And then, of course, they got rid of him at Bayern because they started the season with 8 losses or something because he was 28 something and 8 at one point. His record at Bayern was very poor. The players didn't like him. They didn't like his regimen. They didn't like the way he set up. They said he didn't coach at all. Nobody knew any tactics. He didn't talk about tactics. This is from Bayern. The players at Bayern said this. Mm-hmm. And then there was talk that, Donovan would disagree with Jurgen sometimes in front of the team about certain things, or he'd suggest things because they weren't being suggested. The whole idea that Donovan didn't make it because he was out of shape is bullshit, because when they ran the death runs, he was the last one standing. So that's bullshit. He was more fit than anybody else on the team. He also won the sprints in camp. So it's bullshit.
You don't do a US legend dirty, especially on his last cycle.
For personal reasons.
You don't do him dirty. And that, like I said, I'm looking at the list and I'm looking at the pros and cons of each person. I'm not a big fan of Jurgen. I wasn't a big fan of his tactics as a whole, or his formations and all that shit. Yeah, it was a haphazard. We'd win against Ecuador 3-1, and then all of a sudden we would lose to Cuba or something. That never happened, but it was just so hit and miss. And where the formation worked for us, we're gonna fuck around and change it up again here, make people guess, especially our own players.
Remember,
it was dumb.
Those last 2 games, the first of those 2 being Mexico in the qualifier, and we started with a 3-5-2, and Chandler was playing right wing back, which is fine, but we were getting totally destroyed in the first 10 to 15 minutes of the game. Mm-hmm. I mean, we were getting so outplayed. You knew we were going to get our asses killed that night if that continued. It took Jermaine Jones and Michael Bradley coming to the sideline, yelling at Jurgen, saying, "We're getting fucking killed out here. You got to change the formation now." Mm-hmm. And he did. Thank God, or else it would have been worse. We still lost the game. Then we went and played Costa Rica. That's a blowout, 4-0 loss. Blowout. One of the most embarrassing games I'd ever seen, and he had lost the team, folks. He had lost the locker room.
So jumping back to the Donovan topic.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And even if let's just say he was out of shape, not in the prime Donovan shape. Let's just say that's a possibility, which we know it's not. But let's say it's a possibility. There are still 2 or 3 players on that squad that shouldn't have seen the spot over him.
That's correct.
And on top of that, let's just say we got, Klinsmann got out of the group. What was it? Germany got first. USA got second.
Yep.
Then it was Portugal and Ghana. A group of death. Great results.
Mm-hmm.
Got out of the group and ended up losing to Belgium in overtime, 2-1.
Wando.
Yeah, that's the thing. Wando's a player. I'd sit there and go, does he really deserve a spot over maybe an out of shape Donovan?
And Davis made the team too.
Yeah, let's just say again, he was out of shape. Let's just say it.
He brought Green on a whim.
Yeah, well, if he's out of shape, and let's just say he doesn't start. So you bring him in just like you brought Wando in. Do you think if Donovan was presented that opportunity, do you think he would miss that?
No.
No.
I don't think he would.
In fairness, I wouldn't have predicted that Wando would have missed that. That's his bread and butter right there. So
yeah, I just you still run into people who totally, crush Donovan, say he deserved to be cut, he wasn't in shape, he wasn't at his best or whatever. That's just bullshit. And besides, it's not, well, outside of that not being true, if a guy plays 2 straight years of soccer and says, I need a breather, I need to get, take a break. I just went through a divorce, which crushed me. I need a little break from soccer as well. I've been playing a lot of soccer and I just need some time away to go to the Himalayas or whatever he went to. Let the guy do it. No big deal. But don't make it personal, Jurgen. But it was personal before that even happened.
Had to have been. Why else would Jonathan react the way he did?
Exactly.
It had to have been personal beforehand.
I mean, why is Jonathan Klinsmann laughing at the fact and taunting Donovan and laughing at him on Twitter?
Yeah, he deleted and apologized for it, but it opened up a lot of people's eyes.
Yes.
What must have been happening behind closed doors, outside of earshot of everybody else.
So you remember before the snow game, that article that was written by Brian Strauss, was it? About how the whole team was sort of having a
yes, I do remember this.
A revolution against Klinsmann.
Yeah.
They wanted him out. Well, apparently there were lots of rumors about who some of those players were. Bocanegra being one of them for sure, and Donovan being maybe another one. That word got back to Klinsmann that they were some of the sources for the article. So that's not going to help. And of course, that snow game, that was the game that he informed Bocanegra in front of the whole team that he was not playing and he wasn't going to start and he wasn't the captain anymore. And he gave the captaincy, I believe, to Dempsey. I can't remember who it was, but the whole thing was, it was just an embarrassment for Carlos Bocanegra. That's not how you axe a cap.
Again, you don't do a legend dirty.
Right. You take him into your office and you say, listen, Carlos, we're making some changes. You're no longer the captain. And I'm going to inform the team. When Carlos Bocanegra found out he was no longer on the team or the captain, was in front of the whole other team. So I guess that's just the way some Germans do it. They can be rather callous. But one thing, Klinsmann he was not a warm character. Like, he did not have a warm relationship with the players. That was more of a Bruce sort of thing. Or a Bob Bradley thing. And it looks like Greg.
Kind of a Greg thing.
Greg likes to snuggle balls. So, yeah, probably.
He won't throw a player under the bus. His words, not mine.
Yeah.
Let's go. Citizen Stranger.
Yeah, Belgium was beating us to all those loose balls. We were never going to win that one. Hey, flukes happen. Flukes happen.
We should have wanted that. I only brought this up because we were just talking about Wando and Donovan. We should have won it because, again, that would have been – if there was ever a player that I knew was not going to miss that goal, it was going to be Wando, because he does it all the time. He did it all the time for San Jose. He was doing it for San Jose forever.
Yeah, regularly.
So that's his goal. It's a nice little poacher's goal, and he missed.
Yeah,
and took a lot of heat for that too. I mean, still have respect for him as a player. He's done good things, but I still question whether or not he should have been there.
I mean, we're all Nostradamusing it. We're saying maybe it could have been different, and you're saying we were never going to win. Well, we don't know. We don't know that if things would have been different with Donovan on the team or not. So,
yeah,
kind of threw under the bus. He did. I don't think he meant to.
Yeah,
but he did. Greg did do that. But the problem with Klinsmann, and talking about Klinsmann, are his stats. Not only did Klinsmann, unlike any of the other coaches so far, but it's not Greg's fault, Klinsmann took us and played against the best of the best in Europe. We played against Holland. We played against England.
I think he actively told USSF that he wants to take the team over to Europe more often and play him. Because I'm pretty sure I recall a quote of them say, hey, we need to go play these top teams in their houses if we want to get better.
We played Germany 3 times. We beat them twice. We beat Holland. We beat the Czech Republic. We beat Italy.
We tied France. We beat Italy.
Yeah. I mean, we did some great things under Jurgen. And so you can't beat him there, really. And he had the highest winning percentage at 56%. Actually, Greg has the high of the 4. But again, who did he play?
Mm-hmm. And again, not his fault either. So
right, it's not his fault. But Jurgen took us overseas and made us play for really difficult friendlies, and we came away with wins. And he has 55 total wins, so that's more than Bob, and a 56% winning percentage. So that's higher than Bruce and Bob. Take those stats for what they are or what they are worth. He did get us to the round of 16, but he did have a lack of tactics, and all the players, any player that played with him will tell you that.
Yeah.
On Bayern or the U.S. men's national team. But he did get a first. I think it was 2013 Gold Cup. He won that one. And then the only fourth place in 2015 Gold Cup. That's not good. I remember how frustrating that Gold Cup was. Watching that shit. This is enough to irritate anybody. Okay. Any other comments want to pop up before we move to Greg? We have any comments?
Let's see.
I'm assuming you're watching the chat and getting some chats.
I'm keeping an eye on the chat, yeah.
Okay.
Speaking of Greg, though, it seems like he's got a match against San Marino next break. We'll go to Europe and we'll take it on.
Where is Liechtenstein? Let's play them. Monaco. All right, Greg. All right, we've been saying this now. It's not his fault that Nations League exists. What's really irritating?
Fuck that money grab.
What's really irritating about watching all of this schedule that Greg has had since he's been the manager is there are not enough time for friendlies. It's been
the Nations League takes up every window.
Yeah.
So, I mean, barring the last window, I think.
Right.
A Nations League was still going on. The European Nations League was still going on during that time period.
Yes.
So, I think as I was talking about before the show started, it maybe come down to one of those things where we got a window that we may have to start hitting up, Africa, South America if possible. But I think South America's schedule is always busy too, and Asia. Right now, Oceania, we don't need to hit them up.
Yeah, right. I mean, I get what you're saying about Africa. I don't really care to play Asia. I mean, the best team.
I'm just saying whatever's available,
South Korea is fine, but I want to play Germany, France, Holland. I want to play the big boys, Spain, Argentina, Brazil. That's who I want. I want to see us play in friendlies.
It's possible maybe we play the South American teams. It's very, 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 very unlikely outside of competitive play we're going to play any European teams for the most part. We
just played Uruguay.
Sure.
So there's that. But this isn't the same. This isn't your grandmother's Uruguay.
Yeah. And again, I guess I don't know. The Nations League was still going underway. But we played. We played Wales. We played Northern Ireland. We played Switzerland.
Not very impressively.
I'm just saying we played them. I guess it's what I'm saying is I guess it's possible if you work the schedule that you might be able to pick up a European friendly once in a while throughout the cycle. But then not in every cycle, but not in every window, but maybe once a year you get a European club that you can pick up. I don't know.
And if we do it, can we not play Northern Ireland? Can we at least get,
Was the that's right. We played Panama and Jamaica in Europe for some unique reasons.
I'll take Austria over Northern Ireland in a friendly, and then we played Switzerland under Greg, and that didn't go so well. And that's probably the best team we played since he's been the manager. That's saying something. Yeah, I mean, so again, is that all Greg's fault? No, but he has had some friendlies, and I don't think he's used them all effectively. So, Doghouse currently celebrating a friend's birthday with a bunch of hot chicks, but would rather listen to you guys. I know what you mean, Doghouse.
Here's what you do. You just have all the hot chicks over there getting drunk. You listen to us, and once they're nice and drunk, You drive them home.
Oh, he's going to be the designated driver. I guess.
What's better than what I was? What you probably thought I was going to say.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
drive them home.
That's code word for some kind of stuff. I don't know. All right, whatever you do, don't pull a McKennie. All right. All right. So again, the numbers seem to say that Jurgen's the best, but I'm
just sticking with Greg because I don't want to jump into the stats just yet. Sticking with Greg, as we're going to find out from a Chris Carey quote, I'm going to bring that up here. Might as well. Why not? It just makes sense.
Okay.
Or did we already talk about the Chris Carey one? Yeah, he said that he whatever. Honestly, I have to say, Greg, he's overseen the turnaround of talent, and he's gotten some great dual nats. Fortunately, he's got a ton of faults. We did mention this one already.
Yeah.
And again, I stand firm that the turnaround of talent was foisted upon him. He didn't have a choice.
Right.
Now, mind you, he's definitely stuck to his guns, and we've had the youngest squad all through qualifying, all through Nations League, all through everything,
Okay, but give him credit. Honestly, he could have kept Bradley on the team. He could have kept Altidore on the team. He did not. He could have kept, Trapp's his own fault. Right.
He could have kept Brooks. Oh, shit. That's sensitive still. Sorry. Ooh.
Yeah.
Still got Yedlin, but he's got one, like I said, he's got 1 foot out the door.
Yeah. So, I mean, he got rid of guys that a lot of people at the time assumed that they would still be on the team during the transition period, And I can't remember who it was who said this. God, and I don't want to credit to someone that we know incorrectly, but they said nobody wants Michael Bradley to be on that team anymore. He's a fucking know-it-all, and no one likes a know-it-all. And these kids. I was
going to say he doesn't have the legs for it anymore. Have you seen him running around for Toronto?
Yeah, he looks like he's wearing bricks.
He does. And he had a really nice goal recently, whether it was his last week or the weekend before.
He did.
But where the fuck did the defense go on that one? But good on you, Michael. I appreciate that. But you're super fucking slow. You were never fast in your prime. That's the thing.
No.
Though. He's a good run for days.
He's a really good player, especially in Heerenveen and Gladbach and
Evo.
Yep, in Italy. So, yeah, I hate to see it all ruined because of one game, but I like the fact he let Michael off, and I can't remember who said it. It might have been Jimmy who said that he was really stubborn, and that's not a good example for the other younger players. Because they need to learn. I remember
the quote. I don't know who said it, though. You're right.
Yeah, it might have been Herc. So I could have been either one of those two. But either way, it was a good move. Altidore, it was time for him to go. I'm glad to see Giassi Zardes kind of let go. I mean, he's having
all of the Berhalter favorites outside of Roldan at this point. I guess Ariel is still there, but at least he's performing at the club level still.
Had a decent season with
Morris is still picking it up, but he's still kind of a one-dimensional player at this point for the national team.
He is.
So we talked about how Klinsmann, was pushing the change of our identity, and that it's possible that he laid the groundwork that we're starting to see the benefit from now. How do you actually judge that? You really can't. You can only go off of what he was saying that he wanted to do and what we're seeing now.
Mm-hmm.
But we do know that Berhalter is instilling Berhalter ball all through the youth levels, like U17,
very obvious. Yeah.
So he is definitely pushing an identity onto the United States. Now, whether or not it's good or bad, that's up for you to decide. Everybody's going to have their own opinion. We definitely get the results. Sometimes we don't get the results, but
yeah, I mean, listen. I agree with Pete on this. I think being too stuck in your ways is not a good thing. And I do think that, World Cup, depending on who the opponent is, there is a need to change what you're doing. You need to play a different way. So we'll see if he's actually going to do that. I think he has mentioned the word, yes, I've had to compromise since I've been on the national team. I understand, you're not going to get to everything you want. So Altidore is at Puebla now. I know. I just read that,
shocker.
Actually.
That's a fucking shocker.
But, it's a shocker he didn't work out at all with the Rams.
Yeah.
I mean, that is astonishing because, Bruce knows him very well. And you thought that would be a match made in heaven, but it wasn't. So I don't know the backstory, but it's a very odd story that Altidore wasn't wanted in Toronto and now is not wanted at New England. He must just be a pain in the ass to be around right now. Grenade! Thank you for the $4.99, my brother. Thoughts if I hate the way I say it, my brother. Sound like a your brother. Dork. All right. Thoughts if Tata was selected for U.S. men's national team instead of Greg, do you think he would have had achieved more or less than Greg has? Sounds like less. Looking at Mexico, they're a fucking disaster. He doesn't pick any of the players from the domestic league. He doesn't even study the league.
Well, I mean, if that's the case, I'm sure there's a number of people that are saying that if Tata didn't pick players from the domestic league for the U.S., that might play into other people's wheelhouse, what they're wanting the team to be. So
maybe
there are definitely a number of MLS players that should be on the team, but I wonder if certain players might have gotten a look earlier than, say, last window for one game.
I mean, we know who those MLS players are. Ferreira, Turner. Well, Turner's at Arsenal now. Johnson.
But at the time, Turner would have been there, yeah.
Johnson is a third string.
Zimmerman's been pretty solid at the back. So
Zimmerman for sure. Yedlin, maybe. It's kind
he was still in Turkey at the time, at the beginning of the cycle.
I'll just have to say I've not been impressed with Tata as manager of Mexico. I was impressed with Tata as manager of Atlanta United, but I guess he doesn't speak enough English. That was one of the things that Greg's brother said, or USSF said. Doesn't speak enough English to be the national coach.
He speaks slightly worse than Berhalter does.
Thanks for the donation. We appreciate it.
That was definitely the big argument that was occurring whenever the two names in the pot were Tata and Berhalter. Everybody was pushing for Tata, and then Berhalter got it. But now we're seeing what he's doing with Mexico, and it's even though Mexico managed to get second in the octagonal, probably despite Tata, quite frankly.
I think so, because he did play all the old dudes. I mean, they don't need to be that old. They really don't.
Yeah. I mean, they're still a talented group, and they can get results on the road, something that we tend to struggle at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, no, I don't know if we'd be necessarily a better position with Tata. I can't predict that.
And, Tata outcoached Greg in that first game. That's not surprising. Would Tata
the one that we won?
No, the one that we tied, right? Or lost?
Which
wait, whoa. Not Nations League.
Oh, no. My bad. I'm only thinking last year. Whatever.
Qualifying.
Yeah.
So
qualifying. No, sorry. We only tied. We tied the away match. And he definitely did not coach us there.
No.
So you must be talking about a friendly or a Gold Cup beforehand. Must
have been a friendly.
Yeah.
Anyhow, yeah. Is Tata probably tactically more aware? He might be. At least I used to think so.
I would think he would be.
But I've not been really that impressed with his time at Mexico. That's all I got to say. And, I mean, I thought I would have to, well, Greg kind of has made me eat some crow because I was one of the people saying Tata should have been picked.
Yeah. So. Must have been the 2019 Gold Cup is my guess then.
Maybe so.
Grenade, thanks for the 5. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, the last 2.5 years have gone by so miserably fast, even with this whole Rona thing. Yep. Yeah. Thanks, Chris. We appreciate it. Out the door on Yanks Abroad segments.
No. Do you think he's gonna get time at Puebla? That's a big question.
I don't know. Depends on how bad Puebla starts the season. I don't know where they are right now.
Given how, I was going to say, I don't know where they're at. I'm just going to make a kind of a joke. But given how well Mexico sides did against MLS sides in the Champions League, maybe Puebla is buying an American player to play against them in Champions Leagues.
Didn't Herc play at Pueblo?
Yeah, he did.
Time?
Yeah.
What about Beasley? He play at Pueblo?
Yeah, I think so. Somebody's got to bring it up in the chat. Was Beasley at Pueblo? I can't recall.
This is like Trivial Pursuit, except just soccer questions.
Dude, did I tell you about did I bring
How
up
drunk
the
are
Trivial
you?
Pursuit game?
The what?
Did I bring up the story about playing Trivial Pursuit while I was on vacation?
I don't think so.
So we found a place we were staying at. We found Beasley did play at Puebla.
Okay, I am a genius. How do I remember these things? How do they stay in my brain?
But yeah, the place we were staying at on vacation and everything had like an original 1981 Trivial Pursuit game.
Oh my
god! So we popped it out to play. The guys did because we're all smart and everything. So we popped it out. We popped it out to play, and I'm sitting there going, as I'm shuffling all the cards and everything. I go, you do realize that every single question on here is going to be before 1980 and before. You know what? So I pull out one card to ask a friend of mine questions, and he got 5 out of 6 right. I'm like, okay, maybe it's not going to be that bad. We played for 25 minutes, didn't get a fucking maybe we got 1 or 2 right the entire time, and we're just like, fuck this game. Let's move back to something. Let's play checkers, something more our speed.
That would have been my. I would have been good at 80s Trivial Pursuit.
Fuck that.
I lived through the 80s, man. Yeah. I was conscious. I was over the age of 9, so I remember all that shit real well. All right, so Jonathan Gomez might be coming to MLS and riding more pine would be my guess.
He's not getting any playing time at the club he's at right now. I mean, is there an MLS side that's really going to be that interested? Unless it's on the free, and you just need to fill up your minimum player or minimum paid player spots.
I'm not trying to bust Jonathan Gonzalez's balls. I'm just saying he didn't turn out to be anything like what anybody else thought he was going to be. Whilst they all panicked and shrieked in horror when he picked Mexico.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. If he didn't make such a rash decision, he'd still be eligible to play for the United States. He probably would have been called in at any given moment for the first year he was at. Where was he at? Was he at Monterrey? No. Where was he at? I don't recall.
Can you hear my brain turning?
I see the smoke coming out of your headphones.
Out of my what?
Headphones.
Okay. I thought you said rectums. I only have one of those.
But I mean, given that that good year he had there, I would have imagined that he might have been called up at the beginning of the Dave Serkin or Serkin, or the beginning of Greg.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whether or not he still would have continued the route he did, the trajectory he did going down and then getting transferred over to whoever he's at now, I don't know. But he might have gotten a look, and maybe his career may be a bit different. Having a couple good games with the national team under your belt.
Maybe. But I don't know.
I
don't think so. I think he's just I mean, he was a decent youth player, and we lost him, and everybody freaked out. I'm not saying that Rundgren shouldn't be slapped around like a fucking bitch. He should be, because he's an idiot, number one. And number two, he's a moron. And number three, he lies. He's a fucking liar. That's what he is. He's a liar. Yeah. Remember when he said, oh, I called his parents. I visited his parents. And the parents were like, well, no, he didn't. He didn't. We never even got a call. I don't know what he's talking about. Nobody called. Nobody visited. Like, Rundgren just lied. He just fucking up straight lied to everyone. Like, you're not going to be caught on that. You're going to get caught, dumbass. But that's why I'm saying he's not that bright. At some point, he's going to hear me saying that, and he's not going to do a damn thing about it because he doesn't know where I live.
I know we keep talking about it enough. I'm sure people are plotting it out. You know, they're looking out your door and finding out what constellations are there at this time of year and mapping it down.
This is the same genius who said Subotic wasn't good enough to make our U23 teams. Yeah.
So I guess my final point with Greg, since I'm jumping back, we're an hour and almost 20 minutes into the show. Jumping back and finishing my point up with Greg, he does have a decent track record with convincing dual nats to pick the United States. But to be fair, so did Klinsmann. And then to be fair, so did Bob.
Correct.
So that whether or not that's positive enough for it to be in his favor would also benefit the other two.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, absolutely. So now we got to do, who was your number 4?
My number 4?
Mm-hmm.
I actually went with Greg.
I went with Jurgen.
So, okay, we're going to be a little bit different here. So my reason for this is that it's not over. I mean, I can't judge. I can only judge on a very small window of performances against weaker opposition all around. Yes, he's won the Nations League. That was good. But then again, nobody else had Nations League. He won the Gold Cup, which all the other coaches did. And he got third in the octagonal. And he's kind of stuck in his ways. So I mean, I know what we're going to expect going into the World Cup. Hopefully, we just manage to perform well.
Some of that is part and parcel of the fact that it's a very young team, which of course Michael Kammerman won't let us forget. So I think that's why. Greg's got a tough thing ahead of him. He's the opposite of Jurgen in the sense he does have a plan. In fact, he might even be too dogmatic. We've said the same thing about Jesse Marsch, where I have, and Pete has.
Sure.
And, you can't be that locked into one style of playing. Otherwise, everybody knows what you're going to do.
Yep.
But
very predictable play.
I picked Jurgen for 2 reasons. One, I have not only just a sneaky suspicion, but a lot of jibber jabber behind the scenes leads me to believe that the team won despite Jurgen, not because of him. That's number 1. Number 2, the people that actually ran the day-to-day play and practices and all that, those guys, he had good assistant coaches under him during the time when they didn't get the ones that didn't get pissed and quit after he cut Donovan, because that happened. Yep. There was a guy who left.
You bring up a great point. He was pretty much just a figurehead, a spokesman, a guy that sat in front of the camera. Mm-hmm. That's a great point. I really didn't take into consideration that. We didn't bring it up when we talked about him either.
Yeah, it's just hitting me now. Yeah. So that's why I'm at 4. If you want to move him down 4, you can. But I had Greg at 3.
I'm sticking with him. I'm sticking with Jurgen at 3 because despite all of his negatives, he's still got a lot of good results. We talked about his time in Europe. We talked about his World Cup.
Yep.
He's made some questionable plays. His formations and tactics are questionable at best. And maybe that's because he's not familiar with enough how to implement it properly. So he gets an idea of who the players he likes the best, throws them out there, and lets them do their thing. And that can work depending on your country. But we definitely have a talent gap, especially back in 2014 or even younger or earlier. But there's a talent gap between the United States and some of the big boys. Of course, there still is kind of. So.
That's not to say that Jurgen didn't come to a senses right before the World Cup, because he did. And so once we got there, he decided, okay, yeah, we're going to play a different way.
I feel like the entire cycle leading into the World Cup was him throwing shit at a wall, seeing what stuck, and then once the World Cup came around, he goes, "Hey, this is still on the wall, so let's go with that." Yeah,
and besides, Beckerman's playing defensive mid for us, so we better have some guys who can cover his ass. So let's largely play defensive and attack when we can. And then who'd you have at second?
I had Bob.
Me too. Kind of figured that out. And then everybody's going to ream us for picking Bruce number 1. Well, not everybody, but
short memories.
I realized the Kuva thing. I get it, everybody. But Bruce was the best. He is an actual guy who gets down, has a game plan, goes over the game plan with his players, drills them on the game plan, makes sure they understand the tactics. He's got all that shit covered. He's a good people person for the most part. His players like him. They like playing for him. They play their hard for him. He never really lost a locker room in any team he's ever managed, including the U.S. men's national team. I think didn't Bruce Arena get fired from the LA Galaxy job? Yes, he did.
He ended up leaving LA to go to the United States.
No, he didn't. He didn't get fired. Who was the guy who got fired? Steve Sampson was the guy who got fired by Alexi Lawless at LA Galaxy. So he's never been fired except for he wasn't even fired this last time. He resigned. But 2006, he got fired, but not for his club teams. I just think overall, he's just a better manager. He's a better man manager. He knows his tactics. He's just got the whole thing down, except for Kufa. And that's unfortunate for him. And he's gotten us deeper than any other manager has in the World Cup in the modern era. So, Sitchin Stranger, excuse me, Jesus, damn. 2002 was almost a disaster twice. Yeah, I get it.
In qualifying and in group stage.
The group stage turned into a real fucking mess, but it worked out for us, didn't it? So
well, yes, but I mean, okay, looking at the 2010 World Cup, U.S. almost didn't even qualify. Or sorry, U.S. almost didn't even get out of the group stage except for a 93rd minute goal against Algeria.
Yeah.
Looking at 2014, I believe if Portugal would have gotten the win against Ghana, they might have moved on, I think. But then Ghana came back and I think beat or tied Portugal, which meant that we took second place because we lost to Germany in the final game. So we were sitting on 4 points?
Yeah.
Portugal had 1, and they could have gone on goal differential or something like that. I don't know what it was. There's still something in question then. So I mean, every there hasn't been a defining. I mean, outside of even in 2010 when we topped the group, it was still down to that 93rd minute. So there hasn't really been a defining group stage where we just flat out destroyed, and there wasn't something that was like almost a disaster. I mean, almost a disaster is kind of our MO.
Almost a disaster is the majority of teams that go there.
Yeah.
And play in group stages because there's only 3 options. There's getting your ass totally fucked and being out after 2 games. There's holy shit, there are 2 other teams still in contention along with us for the top 2 spots. That's the usual, misery of the World Cup group stage. It's going to be almost a disaster for somebody. And the last one where we got through, it was a disaster for Portugal. It happens. Yep. And then somebody's got but it was almost a disaster for us. It happens. So,
all right, so David D brings up a point why the 2010 probably should have just been us walking over the competition. Because the refs did fuck us. They took away Edu's game-winning goal against Slovenia.
And never explained it.
Nope. And then Dempsey's goal was nullified against Algeria. So, yeah. No, that's good. Okay, I'll walk that back and say it was only almost a disaster because the refs totally fucked us twice.
Yeah, that Edu thing still pisses me off to this day. Because back then, the refs didn't have to even tell you what they called. And they never did. We never found out. Everybody's watched that footage 50 times. Nobody can see anything.
Yeah.
Anything.
All right, so this was the Ghana-Portugal game. Ghana needed to score a bunch of goals, and I think they ended up scoring 2 goals, but Ronaldo ended up scoring 2 goals to tie it or something along those lines.
Something like that.
Yeah. So.
And we lost to Germany 1-0.
Was it 1-0?
Yeah, and that's all. Like if we had lost a lot, it was almost like German team and Jurgen had this little talk before the game.
You can take first place. Just don't beat us that badly.
Right. Nobody tried that hard in that game, I have to say. It was a mosey game. Okay. Do we have any other questions we want to take before we close up shop?
Yep. Let's hammer through these last Twitter questions.
All right. Hammer through them. Oh, I need to get a hammer. All right. I'm shifting positions here. Oh, my butt hurts. All right.
You need to get a chair, and you need to sit at a desk, man. It's sitting crisscross applesauce can't be that great.
I know, but I've been doing it for 30 years. A lot of people don't know this, but my album, which is coming out soon, had a meeting with Jeb today about the album. We're going through some planning, like, who should get a free one for review, blah, blah, blah. Should Pitchfork reviewed all my other albums in the past, and I got good grades. So Pitchfork, that's a big deal, right? I don't know if they'll remember me. It's been 17 years since I put an album out. So hopefully they will, and they'll review it. But the whole point being, I don't know what. Anyhow, Sam Cutts, I do think the USMNT national team coach needs to be American. And also, there's a little bit of respect for the loyalty of teammates, Ernie Stewart and Greg Berhalter. They're getting a second bite at the apple on that same team, Josh Wolf, another possible U.S. men's national team manager in the future. Yep, there's a lot of ties between a lot of those folks there. I don't know if the coach needs to be American. I just think he needs to be able to speak English. I think will certainly help. I don't care if they are American, honestly. I do think it helps if they're American. It helps them understand, I guess, a generalized idea of what Americans are and who they are. But I think a non-American could figure that out as well. And I guess we can't call Jurgen Klinsmann not an American because he's a U.S. citizen.
Well, I mean, even a non-American coach can come in and then ask Ernie Stewart or McBride and say, hey, I know who the European stars are. Tell me who I need to be looking at a little more in depth in MLS. Give me a head start, and then just jump into it from there. Hey, give me a list of the player. Give me a list of the player pool and see what's up.
Well,
but, I mean, I think being an American will help. It can help the situation. One in the sense and maybe it's changed over the last couple World Cups, but has a country won with a foreign coach yet? I know that doesn't mean shit, but still curious.
I'm pretty sure they have. But I don't remember who it was. Maybe not. Maybe not. Now I'm starting to go back through all the winners, and I'm thinking, no, Germany's always had a German coach. Italy had an Italian coach. Yeah, England would have been England had an English coach when they won. Brazil they've always kind of had, I thought, Brazilian coaches at the helm. France has almost always had a French manager. Okay, well, there you go. All right. So maybe that's a trend, but so far I
don't think us having an American coach will make us world contenders by any means. I don't think that the nationality of the coach will do that for us in that sense, just based off their nationality.
No.
I think what we may find is there may be a coach out there that's familiar enough, at least again with the European players. That's a step forward, and then you can, start taking a look at some of the standouts in MLS and seeing if they deserve a look. We've brought up a number of them. You can even just look at the last handful of rosters that Berhalter would call in and say, well, here's a player pool that I can at least start with, and go from there. You got an entire cycle ahead of you.
There are plenty of non-American managers in MLS.
Sure.
But they're going to know the MLS pool of American players very well. So I think what's important is, one, knowing the player pool, and two, being able to actually speak some English would help. But, I mean, that's a given.
I don't even know where to even start with who would you pick as the next coach, quite frankly.
Yeah. Samuel cuts a fart. Feel free not to discuss because of off topic, but if MLS ever had a super club, which team do you think it would be, assuming either no salary cap or significantly high salary cap? Well, I mean, that could be the Sounders, that could be Atlanta, that could be NYCFC, LAFC, LAG. All the teams with the deepest pockets basically would suddenly become, I don't know which one of them would become the super team, but they would all certainly, it'd be a circular firing squad. Eventually, people run out of money.
Chicago's got deep pockets, but they just fuck around and don't use it well.
I guess so.
Although, hey, we're 3 games up right now on a consistent win, so maybe we're on the up and up. Who knows? Could be.
That would be nice to see that team return to some sort of middling glory.
I keep saying it every year. This is the year we're going to make the playoffs.
Been saying that for a long time.
Yeah, exactly. Decades.
I would have to say Greg Berhalter, because he made a difference on the field, and as a manager, he has a double impact.
So as a player and then as a manager.
Oh, you can't give him bonus points for playing. We're talking about managing. He was a good player, too. Well, okay, if you want to give him those bonus points, you can do whatever you want. But I didn't do that. I don't know how many other player coaches like we've had. So eventually you'll
some year,
right, Brett. About what?
About Chicago making the playoffs again. One year, one of these years, I'll be right, and I'll be like, I fucking told you so.
That's like the same thing with the Kentucky Derby. It's like one of these years I'll be right. I remember when I was in high school, I picked 3 in a row. Of course, only the last time did my parents actually go, okay, yeah, we're going to put money on it this year. Because the first 2 years they thought I was full of shit. And then they did the third year, we won some money. In the 4th year, I picked it. No money. We lost it all.
So
5th year.
Here's an interesting one.
What?
What if Trundle keeps succeeding? He's got coaching experience in Europe. He's back in MLS now. He knows the player pool. He's played as a U.S. player.
I wouldn't write him off.
Mm-hmm.
He's part of that sort of age group of guys. So we didn't forget Saracen.
We talked about him.
He didn't really. He was not really. He was a caretaker, not a manager.
Did we talk about him before the show?
Yes.
So okay. Well, we did talk about him, guys. Just the cameras weren't on.
Yeah. I think we mentioned him once during this discussion. So, but yeah, he was a caretaker, not a manager, and he was just babysitting before Greg got there.
Yeah.
Derek, what's up with your boy Hoppy? Will he go to Burrow? How did you hear about Burrow, Markaloff?
It's on Twitter.
Oh, is it?
I sent you the tweet.
And here I was thinking I was privy to some inside information from.
That was the whole shtick. People were like, dude, people were tagging us saying, hey, what happened to your inside guy? So I sent it to you and I go, are these the same offers that have been rejected by Mallorca?
You didn't send me a link, though.
I sent you a tweet about it, though, didn't I?
No, you just sent that comment. And then I'm like, probably?
Yeah, I got you.
I don't know what the fuck you were asking.
It was all over Twitter.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, then it's probably true at this point because my insider also told me Burrow. And here I was thinking, oh, this guy's giving me some stuff to run with here exclusively for the show. No.
I feel like your insider's talking to a couple other people, too.
I think so.
What the fuck?
To be honest, I don't really rate him. What? I think he should just go to MLS or Bundesliga, too. Oh, man, you got to rate Hoppy. You got to rate him. Watch him and rate him. I'm telling you, he's going to be good. He's not going to disappoint me like Zalalem did. All right. Lauren Blanc on turning the USA down. I was approached, but to coach internationally, it was a no, especially when it is not your own country. International coaching must touch your national fiber. Because of this, I turned it down. I didn't know we asked Lauren Blanc. Did you know this?
This would have been during the Tata Berhalter era, so I imagine. Unless they're already plotting for Berhalter's replacement in a couple months.
I know what he's saying is he turned down an interview. I doubt he was offered the job. That would shock me. That would really shock me. He just said, no, I'm not going to bother interviewing for a job I'm not going to take.
Well, that's the same thing as turning down the offer. Like you say, hey, you can coach our team.
No.
Or you can interview for it.
No, it's not.
Based off of what he's saying right here, it wouldn't have mattered if it was an interview or an offer because he's saying you would turn it down because you have to be a coach of your own country.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying he turned down an interview. Doesn't mean that he was offered the job.
I'm just saying, though, based off of what he's saying, it wouldn't matter if it's an interview or an offer.
I agree.
He's still turned it down.
But
then why are you disagreeing with me initially?
Because he's making it sound like he turned down not an interview, but an offer for the fucking position. And he didn't get an offer for the position. He got offered an interview. That's all. So he's making it sound like he was offered the job. And I seriously doubt that. That's all I'm clarifying. That's it.
Okay. I'm just saying it doesn't matter which one it is.
I think we would have heard about it by now.
Maybe this is his PC way of saying no to that because he's like, what? You're going to interview me?
Yeah.
No, you offer me the job or I walk. That's possible, I guess, without saying that because that sounds like a dick move. This at least sounds like a legit thing to say about anything.
I was approached to coach internationally. He was approached for an interview to coach internationally. That's all how I'd clarify it. And I'm sure this is translated anyhow. So
yeah.
Who knows? Bruce took us to quarterfinal where Jurgen really embraced the dual nats. Again, Jorge, it's not just Jurgen who embraced. Bob did it before him. Bob had already embraced the dual nat. This is nothing new when Jurgen.
Yeah, and Bruce tried to get Rossi, remember?
Oh, yeah, that was a real success.
Rossi gave me the ultimatum. Hey, you either bring me to the 06 World Cup or I'm playing for Italy. And I don't think there's ever intent on Rossi, regardless.
Yeah. So I think Bob's not getting any credit here, but Bob started that, and then Jurgen continued.
I think he started the active recruitment, and then Jurgen had more insight, or he could just jump onto a German team that has German Americans on and say, "Hey, Jurgen Klinsmann here, play for us."
Yeah. I don't think Jurgen did any better than Bob at it. I think they both did well. And then I think that Greg's done really well. But
it'd be interesting to go back through Bob through Greg and see which dual nats they got, and then compare the quality of players to see who would have a higher rating.
Yeah.
I mean, Greg's doing a great job. Jurgen pulled in some good players, and Bob pulled in some good players. But I don't know who all Bob pulled in or who all Jurgen pulled in.
Well, we had that discussion tonight.
Yeah.
People helped us clarify. I mean, there's some bad ones and good ones. So,
sure.
Julian Green never panned out, really.
But he scored a World Cup goal.
Yeah, well, that's okay. Even the blind squirrel finds a nut. Mitch Desi, excited for championship and DFB Pokal games returning this weekend. Thank God, I am so fucking starved for soccer right now.
Was it Pete had asked, goes, who do I watch? Do I watch PFOC or do I watch somebody else? I can't forget who it was now.
You can watch them both.
Well, the thing was, he asked which one he wanted to do a live stream for.
Oh.
And one's on a Sunday, one's on a Monday. So I say be greedy and do both. It was Pepe. Yeah, it was PFOC and Pepe. So PFOC plays Monday and Pepe plays Sunday.
I mean, I would say do neither, because he's always a minute behind the game. So it's not like he's giving live commentary because he's like a minute behind. Like everybody goes go 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 go, and a minute later Pete goes go.
Yeah,
it's tough. I wish they could figure out that timing thing.
There'll be times where you and I are watching the exact same stream on the exact same platform on the exact same type of device, and you'll be like 30 seconds ahead of me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm literally all the way live. It doesn't make any sense.
And you text me, quit telling me shit before it happens.
I'm 30 seconds behind. I'll text you.
So I know. So I have to go 1001, 1002, 1000. And when I reach 1030, I go, now I can tell Brett about it.
It's like if it's a goal or a near goal or anything like that, don't tell me. But if it's just like that was a great tackle by insert player here, I don't care about that shit.
Yeah. Thoughts on the saga over at Barcelona? Apparently, if Frankie de Jong doesn't leave or take a pay cut, it will screw Barcelona over with the Lewandowski and Rafinha signings. Well, fuck Barcelona, number one, right in the asshole. I hate that team, and I hate Real Madrid, and I hate all these leech-ass teams that steal everybody else's best players, and that's how they do business. Hate it. But if I have to comment on it, Barcelona's made the bed, and now they got to sleep in that financial mess of a bed. Yeah, whatever. They got to sleep in the mess they've made. That's all I got to say. And the whole idea that they're financially solvent all of a sudden is a total rah-ha-ha joke. No, they're not. Especially if this is the real situation, that proves they're in a lot more trouble than we thought they are. And they can't possibly be solvent in one season. One season after selling Messi? Now all of a sudden, has it been 2 seasons? Anyhow.
One season, I think.
What did Derek say? What about what?
You're going to come on that bed.
First, we have all the coming wags, and now we're coming on the bed. This is shit flying all across the room. Wag, wag, walk, walk. All right. Besides Jesse Marsh and GGG, who else do you think may be U.S. men's team's manager in 2026? How about
I don't think Jesse's taking him in. He just literally got the Leeds job. So unless he gets shit canned, I don't see that happening.
By 20,
No, because you would have to take over at November, December, unless Berhalter gets re-signed and then gets fired like his predecessors.
Well, that's what I'm thinking is more likely to happen. And then Marsh could take over at in 2024.
Yeah, but I'm just like, I guess it depends on where he's at with Leeds or if he gets released from Leeds. So if he's still in the Premier League, then at that point, Jesse's like, I'm young, I've got time. I'll be a manager for the US later.
You know, with the survival rate of managers in the English Premier League being about 2.6 years, I mean, I'll be surprised if he still has a job in two seasons. I will. Even if he does okay, I think it'll be hard for him to stay. And I'm looking at our good friend at Stuttgart as being another guy that they would probably pay attention to, the manager. And then,
given their track record of staving off relegation, that might be. Well, I guess Leeds is there too, but he'd be a viable option. Yeah.
Yep. And then David Wagner was one that used to be high up on my list, but man, he's just having a rough fucking time. He went to Schalke, loser. Went to PFOX team, and they went from first place down to fourth or third or something the next season. So he's having a rough go of it right now. Wagner. Easy, Bobby Digital, did most with least. Bobby Digital.
I'm assuming he's talking about Bobby
Bradley.
Bradley. I'm
Bobby
assuming.
I've never heard him called Bobby Digital. Have you?
I don't know. He's kind of robotic. I don't know if that plays into that.
I used to always thought he chewed dip too, because he always had that lump in his lip. You know?
Mm-hmm.
But I guess he doesn't. All right. Is that it?
Let me just see. We did that one. Chris Gary says, excited to see Aaron McCooter. just Aaron McCooter, you know. Shit,
airing it out. Airing that McCooter out.
Can lead Stefan and Hoppy to promotion. I think that was everything. Yeah.
All right.
Oh, nope. One just popped in.
That's what she said.
I'm going to give it to you. Says, you guys probably mentioned this, but thoughts on Gioacchini to Orlando City. Made his debut in the Open Cup. Thought he could have stayed in Europe. Move surprised me.
Oh, yeah. He could have stayed in Europe.
You basically spell it out for us, too. I know there's a couple of us who are like, oh, that was the best option for him. And, you know, he's going to come back and revitalize his career, or more likely than not, he's going to not end his career, but he's going to probably remain an MLS player at this point.
Yes. I think that's
not to say anything bad with that. He can perform in MLS and still have an international career with the Nats, but this move back, and like I said, most MLS contracts, at least they have been in the past, are generally a 3-year contract with 2-year option. So in theory, he could be here for 5 years and then leave as a free agent at that point. But he'd be like 27, 28.
Why?
And he's speed. And at 27, 28, he better pick up other aspects to his game too.
Why go up to League and go to a team like Montpellier, have an okay season, didn't play that much, minutes, and then just go, fuck it. I'm just going to go fucking.
Was back at Cannes. He doesn't really play him. Oddly enough, they played him about as much.
It's Cayenne.
But Cayenne. And so, but they played him about as much as he saw in League 1. Mm-hmm. But it's in a lesser division. It's kind of a fascinating scenario to be in. But I feel like he probably could have jumped over to Austria or Belgium, and I know that we're talking about a lateral to MLS at that point. But at least you're still in Europe, and you have a good season or two, and you'll more likely get transferred again for less money too. Because if you have a good season or two in MLS, and European teams come knocking, they're like, "Hey, here's a transfer for him for $1 million," and most MLS teams are going, "I got that in GAM in the back pocket. Don't need that. I'll transfer him over to LAFC for 1.2 million GAM. How about that? You like that? That?"
Exactly. And in contrast, Hoppy has said absolutely no to going to MLS. Absolutely no. Will not do it. They tried. Teams tried. Atlanta tried very hard. Yeah. So some guys are like, "Fuck it. No, I'm not done yet here. I got something to prove. I want to eventually work myself onto a Champions League team." So, by the way, interesting note. Tim Ream, if the way Fulham signings are going so far, looks like he'll be the starter at center back because they have not signed, like they typically do, a new center back to replace him. They usually do when they go up. Not so far. So, and they have not signed a left back, so that's good for Anthony Robinson. So we'll see how that works out.
Hey, Brooks is still free agent at this point.
Yeah.
And Fulham got? Don't championship teams get like a nice $80 million package for getting promoted that they can start spending? I thought that was what Norwich got.
They might. They
get some heavy duty package for getting promoted, and most teams use that to try to sign a couple of big decent players to try to stave off relegation. But has Fulham really made any big moves?
I think they've made 4 or 5 signings, somewhere around 4 or 5.
Yeah.
I checked earlier this week.
Maybe they ponied up their money
yesterday. So we'll see what happens there. Are we done?
Hold on. Just look. Oh, hold on. I think we got a Bobby Digital. Everybody's talking about this now.
Wu-Tang reference. The Jizza. I should have caught it then. I'm a Wu-Tang guy.
So.
Is Bobby Digital? Did he really? Well, he must have faked me out because I didn't get it. I love, what's the album with So Something You Can Pick It Up on Radios and Tunnels? What's that line? Anybody remember that line? Oh, man, that dude could fucking write some lyrics. All right, so if we are complete, we are done tonight. I want to thank you for coming to the Straight Red Card. And when I say coming, I don't mean that kind of coming. I know we've had some confusion earlier in the show. And make sure you like, subscribe, share it with your grandmother. Also, all those fucking horrible commercials that you're watching in between games at halftime and all that shit. All those people are telling you, these big corporations that are telling you they're doing good things and the right thing and this and that. And they're full of shit. Don't listen to them, because really what they're actually doing is they're preventing change by pretending they're engaged in change. They're not really engaged in change. They're feeding you a line of shit, a load of shit, I should say. So beware of darkness, as George Harrison once said, and soft shoe shufflers. All right, until the next time on the Straight Red Card, we'll see you soon.
And we're teammates.
Yeah, we're teammates.
I'm a good chef.
Oh, that's sick. That's sick, bro.
I can make food. Cheese as well. So.
Oh my god, bro. Yo, you gotta cook for me. Damn. Bro, I get up to cook and I just can't do it. This is tough, bro. I gotta say video games, bro. That's bad.
What about your family, bro?
I mean, yeah. Just because the way that I was living in Austria, bro, I didn't know anybody there, so like...
Love eating.
Yeah,
like,
bro.
I have so many...
Bro, I just don't even notice, to be fair. Like, but I just kind of grab it, bro. Grab a couple. There you go. Bro, this is hard.
Yeah.
I'd probably say him. I mean...
Yeah.
Oh no!
Matt, what the hell was that?